It's the dream of every cricketer, the ultimate glory. Few manage to keep their date with destiny. But for many, it's been heartbreaks and a cross to bear. The Holy Grail is here in India. I'm Rupha Ramani, and Firstpost brings you the ringside view. We bring you the Cup of Dreams. Cricket World Cup coverage like never before.
The champion! It's over! He's done it again! Unbelievable!
Oh, straight into the roof of the net.
Nice one.
Straight down the middle. So a good performance.
Hi, I hope you're having a good day. I'm Rupha Ramani, and you're watching Firstpost. Now it's T-1 to the Cricket World Cup here in India, and the excitement is palpable. All the 10 captains gathered at the Narendra Modi Stadium in Ahmedabad earlier today to sort of mark the start of the event tomorrow. And what an Asian Games it is turning out to be, some jaw-dropping moments in the athletics events. The one discipline that never fails to leave spectators completely overwhelmed. Parul Chaudhary's burst to gold will go down as one of the best moments in India's athletics chapter. And India also has a gold in javelin. Nope, not speaking of Neeraj Chopra. So let's look ahead to what's lined up in our show today. The Cricket World Cup is primed to kickstart in Ahmedabad on Cup of Dreams today. We will look at two more teams, the very mercurial Pakistan. How is this side shaping up to enter yet another World Cup? And the team that is everyone's favourite. We look at Team South Africa. Will they punch above their weight here? The Indian women's hockey team makes it to the semi-finals. They take one more step closer to that elusive gold medal, something that the Indian women's hockey team has only won once. We speak exclusively to the coach, Olympic gold medalist, world champion Janneke Schopman ahead of the big semi-final clash tomorrow. And our eye on Asian Games, as we say, continues. India's Parul Chaudhary runs the race of her lifetime, and we shine a light on some of the winners till now that caught our attention, both Indian as well as athletes outside the country who have left an indelible mark on the Games so far. That and more coming your way, but here's what's making all the headlines from around the world in Sports 360. Now, India will head into the Cricket World Cup with their practice match against Netherlands washed out in Thiruvananthapuram. India's first warm-up match, remember, against England in Guwahati on September 3rd was also called off. And the team, as you can see, has reached Chennai already, where they started their first net session earlier today. On to football, Bayern Munich staged a comeback to secure a 2-1 victory against FC Copenhagen at Parken Stadium in Denmark. The Danish champions took the lead in the 56th minute. A pivotal moment came in the 83rd minute when Bayern's veteran Thomas Müller played a crucial role in the winning goal. Manchester United crashed to a 3-2 defeat to Galatasaray in the Champions League. Rasmus Højlund had twice given United the lead. However, the Turkish team pegged them back each time. Mauro Icardi missed a penalty but made amends with the winner. The 2024 Australian Open will start on a Sunday now, becoming a 15-day event for the very first time in its history. There had been growing concerns over the last few late-night finishes. The new Sunday start will see an increase in the number of sessions across the three arenas from 47 to 52. The day session will feature a minimum of 2 matches, which is down from 3 to limit the potential of late finishes. Staying with tennis, top seed Carlos Alcaraz was knocked out of the China Open by Jannik Sinner, who will face Daniil Medvedev. That's going to be an interesting clash. That's in the final. Sinner won 7-6, 6-1 against Spain's two-time major winner on Tuesday. The 22-year-old Italian saying his performance was one of his very best. An Australian tennis player, Mark Polmans, has apologized for accidentally striking the umpire with a ball in his face. The incident happened in a Shanghai Masters qualifying match and he was disqualified. Polmans was up against Italy's Stefano Napolitano with the scoreline in his favor. After he hit a volley into the net, he hit the ball towards the umpire. Yes, the excitement's building here in India. Welcome to the Cup of Dreams segment, on Firstpost. As you know, we plan to bring you special coverage right through the tournament. And it has been a special day today as all captains gathered in Ahmedabad to do a sort of curtain raiser event. The most interesting fact, the only captain to continue from 2019 to this year among them all has been Kane Williamson of New Zealand. All other captains have either quit or stepped down. As a lead up to the tournament opener tomorrow, we have been featuring the teams and of course previewing what we think are some of the strengths and possible weaknesses in each of the lineups. Now, we have already spoken about the host India, defending champions England, 5-time winners Australia, 2 back-to-back finalists New Zealand. And today we speak about 2 teams clad in green. Let's begin with Pakistan. Now, it's a complicated side to decode. This team is one that has been the most mercurial side when it comes to the big tournaments such as the World Cup. You never really know which Pakistan 11 will turn up on the day. By that I mean, on a given day, this bunch can really put up a show and beat the best, but on the very next day can falter as if they just started playing the sport. That's Pakistan for you. But it took one very inspirational and, as you can probably arguably say in hindsight, one of the best captains to get this team over the finish line. Imran Khan's meteoric return at 41 to take his group of cornered Tigers to World Cup glory in 1992 is the stuff of legends. A moment in history, in cricket history, that still is elusive for Pakistan. So let's take a look then at this side. And for this year, 2023, it's led by the very talented Babar Azam. In fact, he's the fulcrum the entire team rallies around when it comes to the batting department. And when Afridi is your last name, can you be far behind from glory? A lot of the team dynamics revolve around these 2 gentlemen. Now, the injury to Naseem Shah, of course, is a big blow, and with their recent shambolic exit at the Asia Cup, things really look a little gloomy for this squad. So if I had to decode Pakistan, I'll start with what's going well for them. Let's start with the ace in the pack. It has to be skipper Babar Azam. They need something incredible and special to set the pace for their campaign, and it cannot come from anyone else other than their captain. And there were a lot of rumours and reports during the rounds of a tiff in the dressing room between him and his lead pacer Shaheen Shah Afridi. And of course, many reports emerged of all being well in the camp thereafter. But there can be no more of that if Pakistan wishes to get their World Cup dream on track. Which leads me to, of course, to the joker in the pack. And he's far from that. There is no one else quite as feisty as he is. An X-factor for any side he plays in, Shaheen Shah Afridi. What a phenomenal bowler he is. A great find he's proving to be. Now, from the moment he burst onto the scene, he has that disarming smile and a very cherubic sort of vibe to him, which again, like so many pacers, is quite a contrast to the way he's on the field. Now, the bowling, of course, doing all the talking for him. This is his figures, if I can bring that up, in ODIs this year alone. He's been lethal as always and a super asset to have in these conditions, which are familiar to him. 12 matches, 24 wickets, and the best of 4 for 35. That is incredible. Now, the next one I will pick is the jack in the pack. Now, I'm going to pick Iftikhar Ahmed for this one. In a bowling attack that has some worries already, a handy off spin to provide in those middle overs with some useful chipping in with the bat lower down is going to come very, very handy. Now, he's definitely someone who can be vital in these conditions. He's been among the runs if you just look at his record this year in ODIs alone, and a good strike rate, but of course, and he scored at a good snippy rate too, but the bowling may leave much to be desired. But will he have to do more than that? Because if I look at what the deadwood for the side is, the weak link, it has to be the spin attack or the lack of it. Shadab Khan is the lead spinner, and he has not been as clinical as they would like him to be. So that seems to be one gaping void there. Much like Australia, a lot is heavily reliant on the pace unit, as they have traditionally been as a cricketing side. Can they go all the way? That would mean some out-of-the-box stunning performances. All right. In the promotions to the Cup of Dreams, I said World Cups also mean heartbreaks, and no other team embodies that phrase as much as South Africa. They have seen it all. Everyone remembers War telling Gibbs, you dropped the World Cup, the jitters, the semi-final losses, the near misses, the dreadful chokers tag. which this new South African team somehow has managed to grow out of. There are guys in the ranks who are fearless, dominate attacks, and know what it takes to make comebacks. Like they did recently, despite trailing Australia 0-2, they fought back to not just level, but win the series 3-2. Now let's take a look at this squad then, shall we? Now it's one that looks absolutely dreamy on paper. It has a very energetic, fun captain in Themba Bavuma, some great quality batters, Quinton de Kock, of course, playing a farewell World Cup of sorts, who would have thought, and a power-packed bowling lineup. Andre Norke, of course, that key figure missing in this lineup. He's been key to their success. But let's get into this side and get you a preview with our lens. First up, who's my ace of the pack? Now, I can't quite settle for one, so I'm going with three. It's that sensational middle order. Henry Klaasen, David Miller, Aiden Markram. What a combination that is. If you want a middle order to bail you after a top order collapse, you'll want these guys in your corner. Henry Klaasen coming off a mind-numbing knock against the Aussies. David Miller, a pivotal year for him in the Indian Premier League, and that's turned his fortunes around for every side he's played. He knows these venues like the back of his hand. So he's a key member in there. And then Aiden Markram, big hits with a solid base. That's a mean middle order going by any team. And that's just... Now let's look at the strike rates. If you look at Aiden Markram, 150. And this is when it comes to ODIs this year. Aiden Markram 120, Henry Klaasen 150, David Miller 118. Henry Klaasen tops the list when it comes to top strike rates for batters, having amassed more than 500 runs this year. And those are his teammates there. Now on to the joker of the pack. Now I do not have to look too further. He's quite the joker in the dressing room as well, going by his pranks and self-admittedly annoying quirks, but also the X factor, especially in these conditions. I'm going with Tabraiz Shamsi. He's wily, he's proved to be a match winner, especially in the shorter format. And he went past a legend, Dale Steyn, as South Africa's top wicket taker in the T20 format. And let's just tell you some of his big scalps so far, especially last year, have been. Tabraiz Shamsi's top dismissals in 2022 have been Virat Kohli, Marnus Labuschagne, Travis Head, Shreyas Iyer, Joss Buttler. Now that's an impressive head count. And in these conditions, coupled with the rarity of his art, he's surely going to be difficult to pick. And what makes him exciting, of course, are his many celebrations. So we are sure to catch quite a few of those in the matches coming up. Who knows, he might even have a new one, a World Cup special lined up for us. Now on to my final card. It's a new one I'm introducing today, and that's the poker face. Someone who you can't read. You wouldn't know what is coming at you, and this person can totally roll you over. I'm going with the relentless Kagiso Rabada for this one. One thing is sure though, there is no bluffing when he comes where he comes from. He's a straight shooter. He does crack into a smile every now and then, and with a certain stoicness about him. He can be destructive on any day. Rabada has had some troubles in the subcontinent in the past, but with the way he has matured and grown over the years, he's taken on the mantle of spearheading the attack. Like he has to, in fact, in the absence of someone like Andrick. Rabada will be a tough customer on any given day. If you just look at his matches in the last 1 year, 7 of them, 12 wickets, 3 for 41 as his best. Not one of his best figures, but this is something that he's capable of, and taking it a notch higher in the big tournaments when it comes. Now let's move over to the Asian Games, and we today focus on the Indian women's hockey team that has reached the semi-final of the Asiad. The last time the Indian women's won a gold medal was way back in 1982, and that's the only gold. Their best finish was, of course, in the previous edition, closest when they came in second. And now they have to beat China to get a place in the final. And speaking to us ahead of that encounter is their prolific head coach, an Olympic gold medalist and a World Cup winner, Janneke Schopman. Janneke, thank you so much for speaking to us.
Well, I'm happy to be here, and lots of accolades, but long time ago,
Yes, you're being a little too modest, but only one gold so far for the Indian women's hockey team. You reckon that's massive pressure going into a semi-final clash or going into this particular games?
I don't think it is really. I think, we've talked a lot about, the pressure of this tournament for us, also knowing we're the highest ranked team here. But actually, we're not too busy with it. We did discuss it in depth. What does that do with us? The pressure of being maybe the favorite, having to win to qualify. We know we just have to play hockey, and that's what I keep telling them. Can we just play and show up on the field and show what we can do? And I think we have a great chance of winning then, and maybe we still don't win. I can't predict the future, but I know we have a very good chance of winning, and that's what I want for them also, that they just play hockey and show what they are capable of to the entire world, because I think that's what they deserve. They're pretty good.
Right, now this is the first Asian Games here at the helm for you. What different have you done in terms of preparations? Because you've done Commonwealth Games. This is the first bigger thing, the biggest games you've come as the head.
For me, not so much, in the sense that it's a big tournament, but for me, every tournament counts. But what I do recognize is that the Asian Games is a very big tournament in Asia, in India. The amount of press, the amount of requests the players get, the exposure this tournament has. So you feel in every way, shape and form that it's huge and way bigger than, even the Commonwealth. And of course, Nations Cup wasn't in that respect a big thing at all. So I think it's more the external things that come into play that makes it a little bit different. And we talked about that as well as a team. How can we just make sure that we stay focused on ourselves and not get too much distraction from outside?
Right, and we obviously have this one thing that we even also spoke to a lot of the foreign coaches who are here helming affairs at India, striking a rapport considering the cultural differences. How important does that get, especially when you're taking charge in a country like India?
No, it's maybe the most important thing that you touch upon right now, because I don't know what I don't know, I always say. And for me, it's important to listen to the players, to listen to the staff, to get their inputs. I'm not Indian. I've lived there for a while now, but some things, it's just hard for me to understand culturally, the background, the language in itself, of course. So what I've done from the start, or tried to do, is to give the players a voice and just say, look, you have to help me a little bit here. What do you guys need? What do you guys want? And that is on the field, off the field. What is important for us? What behaviors do we want to show? What values do we have as a team? And at the same time, the same question is for on the field. And I deliberately asked them when I took over, look, I know that we have a certain playing style, but what do you think is India? What is India DNA? What do you want to show on the field? What do you like? What do you not like? And, they were quite open about that. And I'm trying to, get that in there. So, it's who we are. It's what we do. And they have to show that, right?
Right, and I'm just hoping you're picking up some of the key Hindi words as well there. But how do you build that sort of rapport then, Janneke, to strengthen that bond? Have you done some things, any sort of team bonding exercises together? How has that panned out?
Yeah, I think we try to do a lot of things, and sometimes the girls organize themselves. So in March, we actually went on a camping trip, and it was something that I wanted to do for a long time. And luckily, we had that opportunity close to where we are in camp in Bangalore. And we have a leadership group typically. So 4 of the girls organized a team activity. And what was really fascinating, so we were doing a variation of charades, I call it, because we're with a big group. And but they were kind of enjoying it themselves, and then they made up new rules, and they're like, no, wait a minute, we do a break. And then they are like, no, now you have to say something about the person next to you, but it can't be hockey related. So you have to say something that you like about this person. So, and we started doing that, which is quite hard actually. So that was a lot of fun. We talk a lot about our values. So honesty is one of our values. So a while back was a pretty big ask that I had, is using this traffic light system. So say if you're red, you have to change certain behavior. If you're orange, it's okay, but maybe you can improve certain things. And green, you're absolutely great and keep going. And they were kind of giving each other feedback on certain behaviors. And that was amazing, I must say, how they took to that task and also received the feedback, because of course it's not always easy to hear. And the last thing I can share is like we have this game I brought from the Netherlands. It's called Werewolves, and you have all these different characters. But point of the matter is there's a couple of werewolves, and they're killing the villagers in the middle of the night, and you have to guess. Yeah, it's kind of like Mafia, but there's different more characters to it. So, we play that actually quite a bit, and we played it yesterday again, and they have a great time, and they're challenging each other, and it's a great way of interacting and having a good time, unless you get killed in the beginning of the game, because then it's not so much fun. But can't have everything.
No, but this sounds a lot of fun, Janneke, and it's a great way to sort of get productivity and get some positive responses and build that sort of rapport as well. That sounds interesting. But if I had to just ask you about the change that you've seen in the entire outfit from the earlier times when you weren't head coach to now at this point when you take over, what would that change be?
Wow, many things, of course. I think the ability for the players as an individual, but also as a team, they're willing to embrace pretty much everything. The challenges I throw at them, the ability to learn, to get better, to learn new things. I suggest things, and they're always like, okay, we'll have a go. Like mindfulness is this thing we're doing to help us mentally prepare as well. And I've been trying some new things, and they're always so welcoming and saying, good, that's fine. We'll try it, and let's see if we like it or we don't like it. And I think, they always surprise me with how much they can actually do and how much growth they've shown. And if I look at the field and how we can play hockey and how many skills they have, I always tell them, I don't have those hands, I don't have those skills. In that respect, it's just showing more and more of who they are on the field, their potential, their strengths. And, I think that's more and more coming out of it. And I think that's what people see, or I hope people see that.
All right, just to sort of wrap up this interview, and we know you're busy there in Hangzhou, what would you say is your key ideology when it comes to this particular outfit and sort of furthering this cause and looking ahead, because there's also Paris Olympics?
I think, do it together, contribute. I think, everyone's talking about the 18 players that are here, but actually we have 34 players, and all 34 were important. And we had some longer term injuries, but they also play their role in our team. The ones that didn't get picked were crucial in our preparation, because we had to play good quality games and they had to show up and fight hard. And it was immensely hard for them because they wanted to be here also. So for me, being part of a team means you put the team first. And, that team embodiment, for me, contributing, adding something, making it, the sum is always more than the equal of its parts, that sort of stuff. Maybe that's my mantra. And I think you do need to have fun as well. I think the enjoyment of doing this, and, we're in this village, and I say, look, we can put our, I say our shades on, not see anything, and be in a tunnel, but look around and enjoy yourself. And, when we get to the field, we're ready to play, and then we'll give it our all.
Well, that sounds amazing, Janneke, and I'm sure at the helm, they really have it lucky with you around. But thank you so much for taking some time out and speaking to us here on Firstpost, and we wish you all the best as always.
Okay, thank you so much. I'll be off. Bye.
All right, as always, we'll stay focused and keep you updated on all that's happening around. But if you watched yesterday's events at the Asian Games, chances are you might have witnessed some dream performances. India's Parul Chaudhary set the tracks on fire in what many would consider the best race in Indian athletic history. Parul, in fact, had just finished a grueling race the previous day, the 3,000-meter steeplechase event, which she won silver in, finishing behind the unstoppable Winfred Yavi. And the very next day, she had to contest in another tedious event, the 5,000 meters. Now, imagine the kind of rigor and training one must go through to be prepared to do back-to-back of such demanding events. Now, she was in around 4th to 6th position for a considerable part of the 10-lap race before breaking ranks to come in 3rd. She played the long game in keeping up with the leader of the pack, Japan's Ririka Hironaka. and holding on to that third place with a few laps to go. She then gave one burst to come into the second position with 1 lap left to go. I still remember the bell ringing to signal the final lap. She continued to be in the second place with the Japanese seemingly way ahead to even overtake. She sneaks a glance to her right, and in the blink of an eye, Parul gets a second burst out of nowhere to overtake her on the left, thus blindsiding her, claiming a brilliant gold in 15 minutes, 14.75 seconds. The difference between her and Ririka, a whole second, from being a fair distance to go with 20 meters still left in the race. After that, after pulling off that incredible race, in fact, here's what she said, and I quote, "In the last 50 meters, I was thinking that my government would give me a nice job, that of Deputy Superintendent of Police. It means it's good." Now, Parul, who works in the railways, thought of her dream job. That's what she was thinking when the most unassuming shero in Indian athletics currently was rewriting history. She even, in an interview, seems to have said that her parents, seeing her glorious feats, have now finally stopped coaxing her to get married. Now, with this win, Parul became the first athlete in Asian Games history to win 2 medals in the women's steeplechase as well as 5,000 meters. Next up, we look at gold in javelin. Yes, not Neeraj Chopra we're talking about, but India's won a gold in the women's event for the first time. Anu Rani wasn't even a favourite given her average throws throughout the season, where she couldn't even cross 60 meters. Being compared to her male counterpart, Neeraj Chopra, is definitely a daunting feeling. But if you look at how the race finished, she managed to throw her personal best to win gold in the javelin throw event. 62.92, coming in right at first, and behind her, of course, the Sri Lankan with 61.57 meters and Chinese finishing with 61.9. That's like 2.9. That's a small difference. And here's what she said after the win.
I feel really good. This was the last competition this year. I'm really motivated for the Olympics next year. I could have thrown much better, but this year has been really hectic for me.
Here's hoping that she shines at the Olympics too. For Anu, the daughter of a farmer who was told that she was probably wasting government funding, her gold comes at the perfect time to silence all her critics. And while we continue, here comes one more star. Pumped with energy and vigor, India's Tejaswin Shankar, who won silver in the decathlon event. Talk about shaking jitters off your shoulders. Despite being in one of the most difficult athletics events, a 10-event sport that pans over the span of 2 days, where Tejaswin Shankar broke a 12-year national record and clinched a silver at the Asian Games. The 24-year-old finished with 7,666 points to break the previous record set by Bhartinder Singh, who had set a national record of 7,658 points set way back in 2011. Listen to what he said after winning the silver.
My only goal was to win the best medal. That's what I did. I did what I could, and I'm happy with my score. I think the thing with decathlon is no matter how you perform, you are content with it. It's a 10-event sport, so I did my best.
Right, here was a wrap of some of the top performers as far as India is concerned. We also have got you covered where it comes to certain stunning medal finishes, podium finishes, as far as athletes outside the country are concerned. Why don't you take a look?
Here are some of the international athletes who wowed fans. In weightlifting, Indonesia's Remat Erwin Abdullah set a new world record. Abdullah clinched a gold in the men's 73 kg category. He lifted 201 kgs in the men's clean and jerk. Abdullah broke his own record of 200 kgs that he had set in the World Championships in December. The Indonesian executed all 3 lifts in each category effortlessly. He posted an aggregate of 359 kgs with 158 kgs in the snatch and 201 kgs in clean and jerk. Abdullah's victory was the first win for Indonesia at the Asian Games. Meanwhile, Abderrahman Samba gave Qatar one more gold in athletics. He was crowned champion of the men's 400-meter hurdles at Hongju. Abderrahman Samba clinched the gold with a time of 48.04 seconds. This was also his best run this season. He managed to retain the gold he had won during the Jakarta meet. The 28-year-old battled an injury in May 2022 and had to undergo surgery. This was Samba's first major competition this year. China's Lin Yuwei won gold in the women's 100-meter hurdles final. In the race, she clocked a time of 12.74 seconds and also qualified for the Olympics. But what instead made headlines was something else. A photograph of Lin Yuwei and her compatriot Wu Yanyi surfaced on social media. They were seen hugging each other and the picture displayed both their lane numbers. Lin's lane number 6 and Wu's lane number 4 were visible in the picture. The picture was immediately blocked by Chinese censors. 6-4 is a reference to the Tiananmen Square massacre that took place in 1989. The race numbers were perceived as a reference to that incident. In climbing, Iran's Reza Alipur Shehnazandifard mounted new heights. He was an underdog in this year's Asian Games but upset many of the fan favourites. The 29-year-old competed beside world record holder Federic Leonardo and World Championships runner-up Long Jinbao of China, among others. But Shehnazandifard defended his title in the men's speed climbing event and snatched the gold. He defeated China's Long Jinbao with a time of 5.302 seconds for the gold.
Just a few more days left for the Asian Games to wrap up, but this also means we're coming towards the end of our show. And we have just one more segment before we go. You know it by now, the last serve, where we leave you with something, a little bit of a parting shot. Here, of course, in India, cricket teams have already started coming in, as you know. The tournament is beginning tomorrow. And Bangladesh has landed in Dharamshala, picturesque venues here in this country. And they've been welcomed in a great style. Yes, don't forget to tune in to all the updates here as we continue to cover the World Cup in our Cup of Dreams. It begins tomorrow, but right now that's all the time we have here on Firstpost. Thank you so much for joining in. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.